And we are back, and we just finished watching a contender for an Oscar, actually in three categories. The Wild Robot from 2024. This is rated PG with a runtime of 1 hour and 42 minutes. This comes to us from director Chris Sanders, with writing credits to Chris Sanders, and based off a book by Peter Brown. This is currently streaming on Peacock, but you can also rent it on Prime. Again, this is a film that's nominated in the Best Achievement in Music Written for Motion Picture, Original Score, Best Sound, and Best Animated Film. We've now caught 3 of the best nominated, 2 back-to-back. We just watched The Wild Robot and we watched Flow yesterday. Do you have a favorite?
No.
They're both really good.
And so was Inside Out 2.
And so was Inside Out 2.
Yeah, I don't know if I have a preference.
This is a tough category.
They're all entertaining in very different ways.
And good. Really good storytelling. I'm going to go around the table and get impressions. Olive G, the big robot.
She's chewing something, so go.
Also, it's not the big robot.
Oh, the wild robot. Sorry.
Start off with G.
All right, I'm going to go around the table and get impressions. G, can I start with you? What did you think of the film?
I thought it was really cute and entertaining.
It was sweet, right?
Yeah.
It got me in the feels a couple of times. What did you think of Roz?
I liked her, development, you could say. She goes from this unfeeling robot to a mother.
Yes, voiced by the lovely Lupita Nyong'o. And what did you think of Fink?
He was funny.
He was funny, voiced by the lovely Pedro Pascal. What did you think of Brightbill?
He was okay. He was cute. I didn't really have any strong feelings towards him, as much as I did towards Roz or Fink.
Okay, you liked Roz and Fink better?
I guess you could say that, yeah.
All right. Because Brightbill makes Roz a quote-unquote mom in a way.
Yes.
And, it's just very... I mean, I don't want to say too much, right? Because this film just came out.
I think the basic synopsis is that a robot gets lost in the woods and ends up raising a gosling, a little baby goose.
Little goose.
So, yeah, you're not giving anything away by saying that.
Okay.
Because a lot of other stuff happens.
That's true. And their relationship is just a part of the story.
Right. It's the main focal point of the story, but
There's
then
other
other
things.
stuff happens, and then there's some adventure and some danger and a lot of, lessons.
Yes.
I think one of the main things that they were trying to get across, or one of the main messages of the book as well as the film, was that kindness can be a survival instinct or a survival tool or something like that.
And the idea of someone who's different being in the film ostracized, but also being an important member of community, and how even though there's different animals that live in the community, they all come together as this chosen family for each other by the end.
Yeah.
Olive G, did you have a favorite character?
I liked all the characters.
But did you have a preference for one?
Not really.
No.
What did you think of the film overall?
It was a good film. Cute.
What did you like about it?
It was just a nice movie to watch. It was interesting.
Okay.
Did you hear about the stuff that I just said just right before you answered? About how this is sort of about building your community and sort of building your extended family.
It's just that I don't want to have to think too deeply about this movie. I'm sorry. I just think it's a fun movie to watch. It's nice. The characters are interesting, and so is the story. But I didn't think too deeply about chosen family. So
So without looking at it too deeply, you just find it an enjoyable experience.
Yes.
Okay, that's fine. Some people just don't really care about finding inner meanings and things like that. They just want a nice, fun bit of time.
Yeah.
So
you also saw Flow last night. Did you have a preference? Did you like this better or did you like Flow better?
I don't know, but Flow generally stressed me out so bad. It was a very stressful watching experience. Because I was always worrying about the cat. And I was like, oh my God, I know for a fact that someone on this boat isn't going to make it through the trip. But, like, it turns out okay. But, like, so I was just genuinely so scared. And towards the end with that boat, the end sequence with the boat and the ravine thing.
Yes, that was stressful.
It was so scary, and I started crying.
Funny enough, I felt a little misty last night, but this movie made me cry more. This one tugged at my heartstrings more. Like, I also felt very tense and stressed out by the situation with the black cat and Flo last night. But today's watch of The Wild Robot just put me under.
Probably because you're a mom, and
Probably.
she's a mom too, kind of.
Yeah.
Yeah, that could be it. I think, but this is definitely
Geared more towards pulling the heartstrings.
yes, they're definitely trying to go for that. I feel like Flo. I mean, you identify with the animals. You
Root for them.
You root for them. You want them to have a happy ending, but at the end of the day, it's
Except for those other dogs.
But at the end of the day, it's sort of like I'm still disconnected from them because they're animals. Mm-hmm. They haven't been anthropomorphized to the point where
They sort of have.
yeah. I mean, they do have personalities in them,
yeah.
but
Yeah.
it's different.
Agreed. What do you think?
Of the Wild Robot,
Yes.
I liked it. I had a good time watching it. It's definitely, I would say, a much simpler watching experience than, say, Flo was.
Yeah.
But this is just, as Olive said, it's just something that you could watch and enjoy. And if you want, you can look and find deeper meanings about family and not being part of a mold, being not quite fitting in, but still being of value, of service to those around you, battling stereotypes and expectations. They called her a monster throughout the entire movie, and she really wasn't.
She wasn't. Yeah.
She wasn't at all. She
I
was
think that hurt me too.
doing her best to just help people. And
Well, not people, animals.
well, I'm sorry. Yes, helping animals. But there we go. I refer to the animals as people because the animals are so anthropomorphized that they speak English. They're talking.
they sound like Ving Rhames and
They sound
Catherine
like
O'Hara.
Big Rhames and Catherine O'Hara. And
Pedro Pascal.
Arby's.
yes.
Ving Rhames. Yeah. Mark Hamill.
And this
Bill
one,
Nighy.
Bill Nighy. Yes.
Oh.
And this one was definitely more. Obviously, they were going for comedy. This was meant to be a funny movie. Like, death is treated quite comically in this movie, aside from one instance. But in other instances, they're constantly talking about it. On the way here, I was almost killed and eaten 3 times. Or
The opossum with I have 6 kids now.
Yeah. 7. I mean 6. Yes.
there you go. And she didn't care.
Yeah.
She was bummed when the dead child came back.
There you go. So the death is treated with a lot of humor, whereas in Flo, it's like you're terrified that any of these animals are going to die, and that's a constant threat throughout the entire movie.
Yeah. Yeah.
Especially at the end.
Yes.
I mean, you feel so bad.
Yeah.
But I mean, that we
There's
don't know.
Nothing you can do there. But I think at the end you see.
Yeah. Let's not toss any
Yes,
spoilers
well,
out there.
right,
but
right.
yeah.
This is the first viewing for all of us. I wanted to do 2 animated movies, so I'm also excited about this double pairing of Flo and the Wild Robot.
There's a lot of similarities between the two, as far as themes go.
Yes, very
lack
similar.
of humans and the aftermath of what, more so in Flo than in the Wild Robot. But you see that something has happened to the Earth.
Yes,
where things are not the way they used to be.
Right. Yeah. Yes, definitely. And I like them both, but this one definitely got me more emotional than the other one. I think the other one was just very intense and stressful to watch because you're invested in the story of the black cat.
Yeah. And while they have relationships, it's not like that mother-child relationship
that you have in this one.
that it's developed through the Wild Robot.
Right. And I think they're purposely made more endearing by the ability to communicate. Well, Roz's character takes time You see it in the beginning of the film. I don't know if she was sitting there a year, 2 years, 5 years, trying to learn the different quote unquote languages of the animals in the forest. And then she finally masters it, and that's when she reintroduces herself to them.
I think that only took like a couple days.
Really? Oh,
because
okay.
the first thing that one of the animals says is, "Oh, there's the thing that destroyed my house" or whatever.
Okay. That could be
I
true.
got the impression it was only a couple of days too.
All right. I guess I'll go around the table and get numbers. I mean, there's really no critique here. I mean, this is a straight story from start to finish. There are some underlying themes. This is great for the entire family, young and old. There isn't any... I mean, there's some dark moments, but to your point, it's kind of glossed over very immediately, and we don't really spend too much time in those dark places. If I was going to give this a number between 1 to 10, I would give this a 7. What say you?
I'd give this an 8. I like this. It was
enjoyable.
It was enjoyable all the way through. I didn't feel like anybody was wasted. I mean, you got to suspend disbelief. These are cartoon animals. By the end, they're all acting and behaving in ways that are completely unnatural. But it's a cartoon.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's also a robot walking around. So yeah, as far as just a interesting, fun viewing experience, yeah, it's definitely for all ages. It's got some stuff that an adult could wrap their mind around and think about and feel, like get your heartstrings pulled a little bit. Mm-hmm. But yeah, overall, yeah, I would say it's definitely enjoyable.
Gee, 1 to 10.
Plus, it's beautiful.
Oh, yes, it's gorgeous. It's absolutely gorgeous.
Great animation, great the way everything's rendered. It's not plain. It's not the sort of... For a while there, it was like, the top animation. It was sort of like it was all looking roughly the same. Everybody's following that Pixar style and the way Pixar would render stuff, which was great. But I like that they're being a bit more artistic now, because you could do a lot with animation. It shouldn't just be, I want to make this as real to real life as possible. If that's your goal, just film people. But then you started coming out with stuff like Into the Spider-Verse and Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
I love that so much.
Those are both two great films.
Yeah.
Yes,
and this too,
and even
the way
stuff like Arcane is
gorgeous.
Blue-Eyed Samurai was beautiful.
Blue-Eyed Samurai was good. I wouldn't put it on the level of like Arcane.
No, Arcane is like next level.
Spider-Man or Ninja Turtles.
But it was still good.
Yeah.
It was bad.
No. I'm not saying it was bad in any way, shape, or form. I'm just saying the way it was rendered. It was still rendered in that flat cell shading sort of way. Mm-hmm. Whereas... But
as far as animation, it's interesting. The way that Blue-Eyed Samurai is created. It's not dull. It's not...
No, but I'm just saying that they weren't... Blue-Eyed Samurai doesn't do anything
different
I haven't seen before.
Right, fair.
They're not like if they had like taken Blue-Eyed Samurai and rendered it to make it look like old Japanese artwork, those sort of colors and paints and stuff, that would have been, I've never seen that before in moving across my screen. I've seen still shots and pictures like that, but I've never seen that
style
animated. Whereas like in Arcane, it's like everybody looks like they're painted in Arcade, and Into the Spider-Verse, they look like they're rendered in so many different ways. Some of them look painted. Some of them look like they just popped out of an old comic from the 50s or the 60s with that duotone sort of 4-color process where it's just a bunch of dots. in proximity to each other. Or Ninja Turtles, where it looks so sketchy and crazy looking that it's just really gorgeous, but so well animated.
And the character designs were cool looking too.
Yes.
And the character designs, you're not just like, everybody just doesn't look like... I mean, I'm not going to crap on Pixar because they're like the guys who
made this
we're like,
stuff.
hey, we're going to make animation. We're going to make it so damn good that we're raising the bar here.
Right. But now you have everybody else kind of
for a while there, they were kind of sticking to that particular mold where everybody looked like they were in The Incredibles.
Right. Sure.
And that's fine. But even now, they've sort of like changed it up a bit where it's sort of like we're giving a little bit extra to like the character designs and the way they're rendered and the way lighting is shown. It allows for something that's more interesting. Like I said, if your goal is just to make it as realistic as possible, like remember for a while there that like all these like Japanese properties like Final Fantasy, The Spirits Within or whatever.
Yeah.
It was like, look how realistic it looks. It's like, yeah, it looks great. It looks realistic, but it's also dull and dead. Mm-hmm. Or the Polar Express. Terrifying. I mean, yeah, that just looked terrifying.
Does it?
It's like watching people made of plastic and they're moving so realistically.
Yeah, I guess.
But it's still, they're just like, it would be like as if you went to a department store at night and all the mannequins started chasing you.
Listen, write that down. Don't let anybody steal that idea from us.
Doctor Who did that a long time ago.
Oh, never mind. Or Mannequin.
Man, a terrible movie.
You loved it. You loved it. Don't you? You know what? In the summer, we're going to do all 80s films. I can't wait.
But that's my point, is like the animation style in this movie, they did something interesting with it, and they succeeded because seriously, those backgrounds are beautiful, and the way the characters were designed, very nice. Especially the robot itself, the star of the show there. The robots they look great.
Yeah.
I wish I had a Roz around the house to just
help me.
Just do everything.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cook, clean, fix that
I thought
trench
AI
on the side of the house.
Us. Yeah. Let's get on that.
But anyway, so yeah, I would give this an 8.
All right. G, 1 to 10.
I would also give this an 8.
Interesting. Olive G, 1 to 10.
8.5.
8.5. 8.5. 8. 8. 7. The only reason I gave this a 7 is because I'm giving another film a higher grade. But that's okay. I still enjoyed this a lot. You know,
it just because you could have 2 films that are an 8 and still have a preference over them.
Can you?
Yes. It's not all or nothing. I mean, you've given so many films a 10, but I'm sure you have preferences as to which one you like better.
Oh, that's true too, actually. All right, so you know what? I'm going to change my number. I'm going to give it an 8 as well.
Okay.
So 3 8s and an 8.5. Absolutely. Check it out. The Wild Robot, up for contention for an Oscar nomination in 3 categories. I hope it wins something. And just a really sweet storytelling experience. I think it's definitely the definition of a family film night movie that can be enjoyed by everyone. There's nothing objectionable or harsh or mean about this film. I mean, there's things that happen and there's characters development that happens because of events, but it's still very sweet and lovely. And I think I'm the better for having watched it. I actually really enjoyed this watch a lot. Again, that's it. Wild Robot, catch it on Peacock. From 2024, PG, with a runtime of 1 hour and 42 minutes. From writer Chris Saunders, from Peter Brown's book. And with that, we will bid you all a
good night.
Good night.
Good night.
good night.